How's it going, everyone? Welcome and thank you for stopping in. Today, I have an overview to do for you guys. We are going to be talking about the Cold Steel Code 4. This has become one of my all-time favorite cold steels. This is a loaner coming in from Issuing Stitches. Bobby over there. He makes some of the absolute best hanks in the game. I always have a link to his Etsy store down in the description. You can use code GBALL10, all caps, and that will get you 10% off your whole order. I love showing these off any chance that I get. But just to give you a quick little preview of what Bobby over there does, he just does some phenomenal work. He has micro sizes, he's got bigger sizes. I don't know if he has at least 2 if not 3 different size hanks that he does. He does all kinds of different designs. He has all kinds of different microfibers. He does cotton backs, all kinds of different stuff. He does themed hanks, and he's just an awesome dude. Awesome pricing over there. Capital GBALL10 will get you 10% off. Shout out to Bobby for sending in quite a few loaners. So let's get right into this guy. This is one of Cold Steel's mid-tier knives, I would say. They retail for around $100 when they're not on sale, and if you look around, you can routinely find these for 70, 80 bucks. But even at $100 here, which is, I would say, $90 to $100 is where the retail price lives for these guys. And for what you are getting with these knives here, the Code 4s, it is just a phenomenal value in my opinion. So we'll go ahead and get right into this overview. We'll get out the Stanley Fatty, give this get some measurements on this guy. So we have just shy of 3 3/4 of total blade length, and just shy of 3.5 on the cutting edge, and we are right around 8 9/16 for your total length. So this is definitely in the category of a full-size knife, a little bigger. So we'll go ahead and jump into some comparisons of this guy. There is the Vosteed Nightshade, and that in itself is a full-size knife. We have the Bestech Shodan, which is definitely a full-size knife. You can see here that the Vosteed is quite a bit smaller than the Code 4. The Shodan is very close in its size. There is the Kaiser Escort in aluminum. Not quite up to the same size as the Code 4. We have the Kaiser Clairvoyant, and that's a pretty big boy and very similar, very close. We'll go ahead and do 2 more. Here is the Artisan Cutlery Ahab, and it's a little shy of that guy there. And we got one more, the ever popular CJRB Pyrite. So going off that, you can get a good idea of its size. This is a very popular knife, especially amongst the cold steel fans. Now, the action on this, due to it being a backlock, it's for a backlock, or in this case, it's the triad lock, which is basically an upgraded backlock. It is ultra, ultra smooth. I can't stress enough just how buttery smooth it is on the open. If you like thumb rolling out knives, it's just so buttery smooth. It is ridiculous. You can thumb flick it out. I think you can, if you have the middle finger strength, if you're used to middle finger flicking knives quite a bit, you can flick this out, reverse flick, no problem. So it's got very good action in that sense. And then the close, it will drop down to your finger. Due to it being a backlock, you're going to have to kind of finish the job. You might be able to smack it down like I just did there. But, I typically thumb roll this open and then kind of close it like that, depending. It is fun to kind of let it slam it down. But either way, it is just ultra smooth for being a backlock, triad lock knife on washers. I mean, it is just the way Cold Steel does these knives. It is very impressive in my opinion. So the opening methods, you have the dual thumb studs, and they work very, very well. Very smooth, very easy to actuate. They're very comfortable, no issues whatsoever. I just cannot get enough of this knife. And I have the 8010, the 8015, I have the Cold Steel Engage, I have the Tie Light, so I have quite a few Cold Steels. And this one will be a knife that I eventually get. I absolutely love it. And for the price, it is just ultra hard to beat this knife. So we'll go ahead and get a profile thickness on this guy. Let's zero this out. It is a little thinner of a knife, which some people will like, some people won't. So right there, you can see it is about 0.34, 0.345, somewhere in that ballpark. And I would say average is like 0.4 to 0.45. So this is considerably thinner than your average knife. Let's get a blade stock reading here while we have these out. Coming in at right on 125 thousandths, 124. We'll get a behind the edge reading here the best we can. Maybe. We'll just shoot right there. So it is coming down to, my calipers are reading about 17 thousandths, and I would venture a guess it's probably down around 15 thousandths, which is very good, very slicey, no issues with that whatsoever. We'll go ahead and get a weight on this guy. So you're at about 4.3 ounces. And if you are a Cold Steel fan, that is considerably lighter than most of their knives. I believe the Cold Steel 8010 comes in around 8 or around that ballpark. The 8015 is around that weight also. So this is about half the weight. So you're getting a good size for a good weight. And if you are interested in kind of like a comparison, there's the Shodan, which is an average thickness knife, and you can see the Code 4 would fit inside this guy as far as its thinness. It is not a wide knife. I would say it's average. It's not too big for its length. I think it is a good dimension all the way around. We have a S35 VN Tanto blade. It has a satin finish on it. We'll go ahead and use one of our issuing stitches hanks. Clean this guy off. That way we do not trip anyone out with fingerprint smudges. Very good looking blade. Very well finished Tanto edge. I love Tantos myself. You get a nice straight edge. You get that secondary edge. Very useful, if you're someone who plans on using your knife for an everyday task or at work. Tantos are a very good choice to make. Let's go ahead and go right into ergos. It is, in my opinion, I've heard some people say these aluminum scales, which is what the handles are, they're aluminum, can get slippery. And I don't really think so, in my opinion. Maybe if your hands were ultra wet or sweaty, I could see that being an issue, but for me, I would have a hard time losing grip on this knife. The way I kind of get locked in right there, and I have a good grip on things. I got a strong grip, so that could be the difference. If you're younger and you got a lot of hand strength, you're not gonna have any issue with this knife. If you have weaker hands or you have issues with your hands, then I could see it being a problem for sure. But for the average knife buyer, you're not going to have any issues. If you have large XL, double XL hands, you are going to have no issues getting a hold of this knife, and it will be comfortable. I don't know if it's a knife. The only issue I really have is right here. And that's if you are really squeezing down on this knife. This is, it's a little thin is all. It's a little thin right there, which, I can get past that. And if you're wearing gloves, obviously that is all a moot point. But ergos, I think, are great. The steel choice is great. The blade shape, the thumb studs, all good to go. The triad lock is ultra smooth. Cold Steel went with a much more minimal clip than they usually do. It's nice and skinny. It's short. It's pretty deep carry if you consider a lot of the other Cold Steel clips that they use. I think that was an excellent, excellent choice. We'll go ahead and do a hardware check. We have a T8. These are the Lexavon bits that I've been testing out for quite a while, and they are excellent in my opinion. So your pocket clip screws are going to be T6. Your body screws are going to be T6. Your pivot screw is going to be, I think that's a 10. Let's double check that because the 8 is going right in. We have our Stanley stubby here, and it is an excellent driver. You can house a bunch of bits in the bottom of the handle. There is a 10 right there. Let's slide that guy out. I also keep Weehaw bits in there too, so don't flip out. Yeah, it's a T10. So they went T10 on the pivot and T6 on everything else. I don't get why companies do that. Just give us T8s all the way around, or do, you know, in all honesty, I like the T10, but if I had my choice, just give me a T8 pivot and the rest of it all T8 as well. Then we only need one bit, no issue, you know, bada bing, bada boom, one bit. You have lefty capability here, so you can switch it over to left hand tip up, or it is right hand tip up. So that is good for our lefty brothers out there. There's not going to be any lockup issues, lock stick. There's no, you know, pivot. There's nothing like that. When it's locked up, no side to side. No up and down. It is locked up like a bank vault, baby. And it's something you're going to be able to depend on. That triad lock is just phenomenal. So lock up, going to be good to go. This is going to be something you can hard use all day, every day. I do have a first impressions of this knife up. I'll throw it up in a card there if you're interested. Let's do a cut test, and then I will get you guys out of here. And I'm not sure how much Bobby had used this knife. I have used it some on some cardboard and some paper testing. I'm gonna get with Bobby and make sure it's all right with him if I just do some lighter type things with this. I have not been carrying it or using and abusing it, but I have been running it through some cardboard, testing it on paper and phone book paper and that various sort of things, and it has performed very well. The edge could use a little touch up, but it's still slicing through magazine paper, no problem. And that's not what this is really meant for. It's not meant to be a thin, slicey razor blade. This is meant to be a user, you know. It's going to have a good working edge, and it's going to hold that edge very well due to that S35VN. $400, and if you can get it cheaper than that, you have yourself an ultimate hard use knife with a good name, good materials, good build quality, good strong lock. This is definitely a winner in my opinion, and anyone who has this knife can leave it down in the comments. I guarantee they will also agree. They might tell you that the grip is a little slippery or a little thin. That is all going to be up to the end user, but all in all, I think this is a great value coming from Cold Steel. The code 4 is definitely good to go in my book. If you hung out through the whole video, thank you. I love you. If you're still here and you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button down below. I'd love to have you here. Give the video a thumbs up and leave a comment down below. Have a good one, guys.